Firstly, let me give a shout out to Illicit Deeds, my friend who actually brought this story to my attention and gave me some information. I was actually able to go and find even more details on this story. And I think you guys will find it pretty surprising, and why I continue to try to encourage people to be careful who you bring your children around, but do what's best for your children. If you don't love your children, if you don't want to love children and do 100% what is best by them, it's just best for us not to be parents. I think this is going to be a glaring example of that. I'm going to have some things that are probably going to not sit with you very well when it comes to my opinions, so let me give you a disclaimer. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And let me say thank you to meaww.com. I'm also getting information from K105.com, from illicitdeeds.com, and from WKYT.com. So multiple different sources for the same information. A 22-year-old man identified as Jordan Blake Taylor. Let me see if I can get his face up on the screen real quick. We're going to talk about all those screenshots. We're going to talk about that beautiful little baby. We'll come back to it. Give me a second. Let me get his face up here. This guy right here who's just looking like a freaking idiot at this point in that alleged mugshot. Jordan Blake Taylor has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder in the death of a 3-year-old child by the name of Amora Smallwood on Sunday, February 19th. Now, he's currently being held in the Whitley County Detention Center on a $250,000 bond, which, how does he get a bond is beyond me. But we're going to talk about the mom here because there was some more information that just came out about her. Now, Kentucky State Police were contacted on the evening of February 19th by Whitley County Sheriff's Office in connection with the death investigation involving a 3-year-old child in Woodbine community, as per WKYT. Their preliminary investigation revealed Whitley County EMS responded to a home where they found the child was unresponsive. Sorry, I'll get my tongue-tied fixed here in a moment. Following this, the 3-year-old was transported by EMS to Baptist Health Corbin and later pronounced dead by the Whitley County Coroner's Office, reports Lex 18. An autopsy is scheduled in Frankfurt at the State Medical Examiner's Office. Now, who is this fool right here? Court documents, not my words, show that Taylor is the boyfriend of the child's mother by the name of Alex Ward. And let's go back to mom's picture. That's a beautiful little girl, man. Happy baby. To just end up like this is just ridiculous. This is the mother, the biological mother, Alex Ward. Let's go back to this baby's picture. She just seems like a happy baby. And even if you don't like kids, even if you don't want to be a parent, even if you might become upset, I don't understand what would enrage you to a point to hurt an innocent baby who can't speak for themselves nor defend themselves. There's nothing they can do to you to make you this upset. Sheriff Bill Elliott said Taylor's description of the child's injuries were not similar to what they saw. The sheriff said, and quoted by WKYT, there were bruises all over this baby's body and not in just one area. They were in different stages of healing, which means there were old bruises and new bruises. Bruises were seen from the head to the child's feet. Taylor, who is set to appear in court for a preliminary hearing on February the 27th, which is slightly old, this man has 14 prior arrests since the year of 2019, which are related to assault and terroristic threats as per the Enterprise website. I know that's a lot. We'll get back to it. Please let me know that y'all heard that this man had at least 14 prior arrests. The mother. Let's talk about the mom. An independent journalist by the name of Bobby Willison shared a screenshot of an exchange that showed the mother allegedly defending her boyfriend in this investigation. He wrote, "The 3-year-old's mother is taking up for him. Messages were found on Facebook while another Facebook user, Dakota Allen, posted a recording of a phone call where Ward can be heard saying, 'You don't know what happened. You weren't there.'" So mom was defending the boyfriend. How many of you guys are surprised by that? There's a lot to talk about here. Though law enforcement hasn't released many details about Taylor or the case, many were quick to bombard the suspect with accusations of him killing his son, Javon Kingston Blake Taylor, as well in July of 2020, that he shared with his wife, Shayna Begley. Let's pause all of that right there. I know I just said a whole lot. This is the type of stories that really capture my attention. 14 prior arrests. I think it's actually 15 prior arrests, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to check on a different website, so I'll read from that here in just a moment. Let's go back. Those are some of the screenshots. I'll make them bigger on the screen so you guys can see them. And if you want to read through them, save them, document them, whatever you want to do. This man is accused of killing another child with a woman by the name of Shayna Begley, who was his wife. Not this child, not this mother, not this same situation. In 2021, that would have been about 3 years ago. Plus the 14 prior arrests. Hashtag when you date thugs, you date what? What is my hashtag? What is the AFC hashtag that a lot of people are becoming familiar with? Hashtag when you date thugs, you date death. The reason why I say that, it doesn't apply to all thugs in every situation, and everybody that's not a law-abiding citizen. But what I'm saying is that you need to highly reconsider when you are dealing with somebody that has a big-ass criminal record, number one. Number two, maybe somebody who's not a reputable character. Number three, maybe somebody who out here in these streets. Number four, maybe somebody who hasn't proven themselves to be a good parent. Maybe you shouldn't either be bringing your children around them or have children by them. When are we going to start doing a freaking background check? I'm pretty sure that if this little girl is 3 years old, you had time, because he's not the father of this baby. He's not the father of this baby. Some other man is. You had time to do a background check to find out, since it was on his record since 2019, that he's been either accused of some things, been charged with some things, or convicted of some things. You would know that if you researched. If you're going to research a daycare, if you're going to research a school, a particular school before you send your kids to school. Even when your kids get older, you will research the boyfriends before your kids start dating. Why would you not check out the man that you're going to be having a relationship with? You don't check to see if they got any STDs before you have sex with them. Right? What are we checking for? We're not checking for our own sexual health, and we're not checking on our own children's safety. We just bring our kids around anybody. You want to have sex with them, so it's cool. Yeah, you'll be a great babysitter, right? So let me say this again. People accused him of killing his own son by the name of Javon Kingston Blake Taylor. You can look that name up. As well, in July of 2020, that he shared with his wife, Shayna, Shaina Begley, Begley. Allen wrote, "These two innocent babies will never get a chance to live life to the fullest extent because of a monstrous, disgusting, and vile human. Jordan Blake Taylor murdered the 3-year-old daughter of Alex Ward, this baby, and Jimmy Wayne, Amora Smallwood." That's that baby's name. That's Amora Smallwood. Sadly, this wasn't his first attack on a child that ended fatally. In 2020, these are not my words, y'all can go look up the articles. In 2020, he also admitted to killing his biological son that he had with Shayna Begley by the name of Javon. These babies deserve justice. Nobody should be defending or backing this man, especially a mother. Now, journalist Willison, too, shared screenshots of the conversation between Begley and Taylor in 2020 that had Taylor saying, "I didn't mean to hurt him." Let me see if I can pull that up. Because there were quite a few screenshots, but let me get the right one up here. Give me a second, not that one. That one, we'll share that one here in a moment. Right here. Okay, here we go. This one. Now, it's going to be a little bit hard to see, so I'm going to have to try to stretch this on the screen. Can y'all see that? I'm going to probably have to make it bigger. Hold on. Let's go like that. Let's scrape this top down a little bit. I hope this makes it a little bit easier for you guys to see. Here's the conversation. "I didn't mean to hurt him." Bashing Taylor, a user wrote, "This discusses the hell out of me." I think they meant discusses, like disgusting. Discusses the hell out of me. "I am a parent who knows Jordan really well, and it broke my heart when I heard he murdered his son. Prison is too good for him. Makes you miss how people were dealt with in the older days. And for the mother to defend him on murdering her child is no better than him and needs to be where he is as well." So that's part of the screenshot. And it says, "I didn't mean to hurt him. How did you not wake up when Kamari was up? You don't make any sense. Kamari wasn't up. I know better. She doesn't sleep that long. Okay, I killed him. Whatever." According to them, that's his words. I'm not verifying this. This is what they put out there. You guys can see this. And it says, "Whatever. And for Bubby to have been dead for hours and you not know it disgusts me. Okay, Shayna, whatever. You're treating me like shit. I haven't done none." Let's get the next screenshot up here. So let's go with this one. It says, "You're pathetic," and he says, "Okay, just do what you have to do. You're stupid." He said, "You're dangerous. Our kid, it's O-U-R, our, as in possessive, not A-R-E. Our kid is going to get took when they find my shit. They're going to find your stuff no matter what. They have every right to search with probable cause because of Bubby. You're childish." He said, "It's a sight you think I wouldn't." It's a sight? I don't know what he meant. "You think I would hurt my kid? I never hurt him, you stupid bitch. It's a sight you aren't capable of," is what she responded. Do I have a little bit more? Yep. "But sit here and play guilt trip and only worry about yourself." He said, "Okay, whatever. When I'm in prison, it's your fault you don't love me thinking I would hurt my child." She wrote, "Just do what you're supposed to do. I'm tired. I'm done. I want to get to Kamari. And the longer you act like a child and refuse, the longer I'm going to have to be here." And he said, "I'm not letting them search my house F them, I told them. And she said, a child died in there. You think they can't. Do I have any more? I think that might have been it. Yep, I think that was it. We'll get back to this bigger screenshot of a mess right here in a moment. Yeah, we'll get back to that in a moment. So, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And if you guys are watching this, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up and share this so that more people can see this video. That'll help us out quite a bit. So let's go to our next article, which is going to be from K105.com. K105.com says, an Eastern Kentucky man is facing a murder charge in the death of his girlfriend's toddler. The dude's name is Jordan B. Taylor, 22 years of age, of Corbin, has been charged with first-degree murder in the death of 3-year-old Amara M. Smallwood. She suffered brain bleeds and was bruised all over her body from blunt force trauma. Police say that she was beaten at her home in Woodbine in Whitley County by Taylor while the child's mother was away. So he was acting as the babysitter yet again. The toddler was found unresponsive at her residence and transported to Baptist Health Corbin, where she was pronounced deceased. Taylor is being held in Whitley County Detention Center on a $250,000 cash bond. According to online records, Taylor has been arrested at least 15 times. So I'm getting this from a different website. Not 14, but 15 times. And he's only 22 years old. 21, 20, 19. So around 18, 19 years old, I still don't understand why women will have babies with men who are under the age of 30 years old. I just think that men stand a better chance of being fathers after the age of 30. It doesn't mean all. It doesn't mean every situation. But I think you would increase your odds of finding a man that is ready to be a father after the age of 30 years old if we take better time to plan and actually have a future for our kids. What are you having a child by an 18-year-old for? I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. I just don't think that most men are going to be mature or responsible enough, let alone be able to take care of themselves at age 18. Let alone be a dad. So both sides have to be responsible. I think the men are crappy on that side. But as women and as mothers, ladies, I'm just saying, since you guys hold the key to that kingdom, your womb, don't have children by just anybody. That's all I'm saying. Both sides got to be held accountable. He's been arrested 15 times since 2019 on charges including assault, domestic violence assault, theft by unlawful taking, first-degree terroristic threatening, public intoxication excludes alcohol, and possession of a defaced firearm, and menacing. So they gave a little more details from K105. Let's talk about the mob being charged now. And we'll talk about that GoFundMe. We'll talk about these other screenshots here in a moment. A Kentucky mother is now facing charges in connection with the death of her young daughter, Amara Smallwood. This is from WKYT.com. The Whitley County grand jury met earlier in April, and Monday the indictments they agreed to return were read in open court. Jordan Taylor, who was arrested after 3-year-old Amara died at the hospital, was indicted on murder. He was indicted on a sodomy charge and indicted on strangulation charges. So that's a little more detail. I know that's probably hard to hear what this angel was forced to go through by mom having a boyfriend, thinking he was a suitable babysitter, and leaving this baby completely unattended with this fool. However, right after that indictment was read for Amara's mother, 20-year-old Alexandra Ward, or Alex Ward, who was sitting in the front row of the courtroom. She, along with other friends and family in the court, showed clear shock and surprise when a deputy took Ward out of the courtroom in handcuffs and took her to the sheriff's office for processing. And I think that is a beautiful thing. Don't y'all think? So she was literally there to hear the charges read against her boyfriend, and they was like, guess who else is going to jail? Yo ass right there in the front row. Man, we're going to need you to come with us. And she's like, what? And they read her charges right then and there. I think that is poetic justice. She is facing complicity to commit murder and strangulation charges. In Kentucky, you have an affirmative legal duty as a parent to protect your children and keep them from harm. In addition to being a moral duty, it's a legal obligation. Let me tell you guys what that means. And this is why I love that Kentucky did this. I like to think that the AFC podcast can take credit for some of this. You want to know why I think us in the chat, as well as myself, can take credit for that? Because what have we been saying for the past 4 to 5 years of doing this show? I've been saying, if you take your children to the thug zoo and put them in the thug lion cage and leave them there, and that thug lion murders and mauls your child, then your ass, because you took them there, should be just as responsible. Is that not what we've been saying? Hashtag thug lion, thug zoo. Is that not exactly what we've been saying? This is what they're implementing. This is what we've asked for. This is what we've prayed for. This is real justice. So I'm thankful. And the more that this becomes law, the easier it'll be to start inflicting these things upon people who put their children in danger. I love that. Parents that fail to protect their children from suffering and consequences like this are liable for the crime like they committed it themselves. That's what we've been asking for. That's exactly what we've been asking for. Bowling says that he's never seen a child abuse case like this one. He says there was evidence and the grand jury agreed that Ward, the mother, took no effort to protect her daughter. Kentucky State Police are still investigating the case with assistance from the Whitley County Sheriff's Office. That's what we've been asking for. Let me give you guys the fair usage. We'll get back to that screenshot, I think, if it's relevant. We'll come back to it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And do you guys want me to go ahead and show those screenshots now of the message between the mom and some people on here, or do y'all want me to wait? Because I'll play the news video. And if you guys are watching, please hit that thumbs up, share this video, because I promise you it definitely helps. We're making a difference for our babies. First news video.
Breaking news out of southern Kentucky.
The mother is now facing charges in relation to the death of her daughter. Amara Smallwood died earlier this year in Whitley County.
Police initially charged the mother's boyfriend, Jordan Taylor. But as WKYT's Phil Pendleton explains, the prosecutor says the mother is to blame too. He has our top story at noon.
The Whitley County grand jury met earlier this month, and today indictments were read in open court. Jordan Taylor, who was arrested not long after the 3-year-old died at the Corbin Hospital, was originally charged with murder and some other charges. Today, an indictment was read against him in open court, charging him with murder, sodomy, and strangulation. But then a second indictment tied to this case was also read, and that was for Alexandra Ward. She is facing complicity to commit.
And they ended up arresting her when she was there to just hear the charges against her boyfriend, like she ain't did nothing wrong. And if you guys are watching, we want to have one thumb up for everybody watching. If y'all would, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up, please, please.
Strangulation and complicity to commit murder charges. She, along with other friends and family, some wearing t-shirts that said "Justice for Daddy's Princess," showed clear shock and surprise when a deputy sheriff took the 20-year-old out of the courtroom in handcuffs and then took her across the street to the sheriff's office for processing.
In Kentucky, you have an affirmative legal duty as a parent to protect your children and keep them from harm. In addition to being a moral duty, it's a legal obligation. And parents that fail to protect their children from suffering consequences like this are liable for the crime as if they committed it themselves.
Commonwealth's attorney Ronnie Bowling tells me that he has never seen a child abuse case quite like this, talking about the very, very severe injuries that Amora Smallwood received, stating that the grand jury clearly returned the right indictments in this case. We're going to have a lot more on this later today, but for now in Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
So let me preface this before we play this. This is a recorded conversation. I don't know whether they got this legally or not, but somehow they got the audio, and I believe this is the biological mother. And I'm going to play it on my phone so I can make sure that you guys can hear what I hear. Make sure that the volume is up. But listen to what the mother says. So somebody's trying to confront her about this, and this is what was recorded. So here we go.
For one, you don't know what happened. You wasn't there. For two, you have no right to warn whatsoever.
I can post whatever that's on the internet. I'm allowed to post his charges if I want.
For one, you don't know what happened. You wasn't there. For two, you have no right to warn whatsoever.
I can post whatever that's on the internet. I'm allowed to post his charges if I want.
Okay, but you don't know how she died, and you don't know why she died.
I talked to Didi, and I trust Didi more than you. I have nothing to say to you. I'm not taking my post down. You want it down? I don't know what to tell you. I'm not taking it down. It's on the internet. He did it. I don't care.
You don't know that he wasn't there.
Oh, but he's charged with it, so I don't care. I'm allowed to post charges.
They charged him.
With murder.
They charged him so that they could keep him in there until like autopsy comes back, if you must know.
Well, it's on there. I'm not deleting it.
Tell her that if that was the case, then they would hurt him in the jail cell and not post anything.
No, she isn't.
Now, that sounded like she was trying to attack a person on social media that posted this information about her boyfriend. Same thing that we just talked about. The charges, he was arrested, what they believe he did, the accusations. And the mom that you believe that loved her child, 3-year-old Amora, she actually went at this person and said that you need to take your post down. How familiar does that sound? Do you guys know how many times I've had somebody try to contact me? I posted certain comments that people have left me in the community tab of my channel, so you guys can actually go and look at that and just see some of the ridiculous things that people say, asking me to take my content down, asking me to take my videos down, flagging my channel down, trying to get my channel deleted. I've gotten death threats over some of the things I've said, some of the videos that I've posted. The most ironic thing about this is that these people will fight those who want justice for the children harder than they will fight for their own children. I want y'all to listen to this. This sounds like she loves this man more than her own child. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. She is fighting for her boyfriend, fighting for his name, fighting for him to be free, rather than fighting for the correct treatment of her own daughter. And this is why I think she needs life in prison also.
For one, you don't know what happened. You wasn't there. For two, you have no right to warn whatsoever.
I can post whatever that's on the internet. I'm allowed to post his charges if I want.
Okay, but you don't know how she died, and you don't know why she died.
I talked to Didi, and I trust Didi more than you. I have nothing to say to you. I'm not taking my post down. You want it down? I don't know what to tell you. I'm not taking it down. It's on the internet. He did it. I don't care.
You don't know that he wasn't there.
Oh, but he's charged with it, so I don't care. I'm allowed to post charges.
They charged him.
With murder.
They charged him so that they could keep him in there until like autopsy comes back, if you must know.
Well, it's on there. I'm not deleting it.
Tell her that if that was the case, then they would hurt him in the jail cell and not post anything.
No, she isn't.
And I love the fact that she stood on that and she's just like, hey, these are public charges. I can talk about it. I can share it. It's, it's really for them to prove that they didn't do this, especially when you have extenuating circumstances and evidence that proves that it's more than likely something that this man is guilty of. Let's take a look at these screenshots here real quick, because this is from the biological mother, Alexandra, a.k.a. Alex Ward. So let me see if I can adjust this and make this a little bit bigger on the screen for you guys. Give me a second. Here we go. The one on the left says, girl, I just don't understand. Why did you stay with him knowing what kind of person he was? So many people warned you. Why did nurses from the hospital say that both girls had cigarette burns all over their bodies? And it looks like she responded and said, he treated my girls amazing. That nurse is lying. He treated my girls amazing. That nurse is lying. If I ever thought in the back of my mind, and if the kids were not saved, they would not have been left with him. I don't know what she said there. She didn't use proper English. Anyway, I know the results from his son's autopsy, and it was not murder. So that confirmed that she knew that he was a suspect in the death of that boy. And she still let her daughter around this man with no type of supervision. They go on to say over here on the right-hand side, read my Facebook post. It says everything I need to say. They responded and said, I read it. Why are you not angry? She said, I am very. You have been defending him. And she said, no, I haven't. She said, I just don't understand. You told Kendra to delete her post and said that he's only in jail until the autopsy comes back. That is the epitome of defending this alleged child murderer and abuser. That's exactly what this is. They wrote, how can you take up for someone that just murdered your baby? And she wrote, my kid died from a brain bleed. Now let's talk about this GoFundMe. There is a GoFundMe up. How many of you guys are surprised by this? Dead child equals GoFundMe. Let's look at this. Funeral expenses. They were asking for $5,000 and they raised $4,300. And this was asked for by a person by the name of Marlena Ellis, who is an organizer on behalf of Jimmy Smallwood. We want to help the family cover funeral expenses and some of the extra living expenses to give her dad, Jimmy, some time to grieve and process this horrific tragedy while he takes care of his baby girl, Kinsley, as well. All donations are appreciated. This will go directly to Jimmy. So if you guys want to look that up and donate, you can. They're almost at their goal. Again, I am not against GoFundMe. I'm just for life insurance. We should all have life insurance, no matter the age. Everybody should have life insurance. So I think that was all of the screenshots. Let me make sure, because I saw one other one. Let me see. Oh, goodness. Yeah, let me not skip this one. This one's a big one. Now, I'm going to have to take up the whole screen if you guys are watching and y'all want to see all of this. Let's take a look at this together. I know it's a lot to look at. So on the left-hand side, it says, why are you letting someone who just killed their son watch your kids? Yo, more funnier than he is. I don't know why they don't write correctly. Get your man in check. He talks SHIT about your oldest daughter all the time, calling her ugly and stuff. He in your crib right now acting like he bought everything and pays everything, and then he is over there making fun of yo girls. He's weird. He tried touching little girls all the time. I don't know why you let him around yours. He gonna rob and do you bad, no cap. I don't know why they would do that, say that word. and that man was trying to put his male part up on me, and I'm 16 and I was 15 at the time. All he does is sexually harass women. Interesting. Let's move on to this next one. Let me see if I can highlight it so you guys can keep up with what we are at. Give me a second. Let me break out my trusty whiteboard here. Boom. Let's go here. All right, so now we're on this message. It says, "Hey, I'm sorry. Thanks for telling me I gotta block you because he will go off. I'm about to leave him. I heard a lot. Please let it be in taking him back to his family house tonight. He's going to rehab. I have to get off here because if he finds out, he will be mad." They wrote back and said, okay, you're okay. I was just letting you know. She said, "Thank you for real. I'm glad you're leaving him. Me too." This next message right here. Actually, can I clear that? There we go. So this message here says, "Me too. I hope you and your kids the best. Thank you for telling me. You're welcome. Didn't know that about him. You're good. He gonna be surprised when I tell him pack his bag. Oh yeah. What do you think he will do?" And they wrote, "Facts. I wouldn't let him around Joe something. I think kids or something like that." This next message over here on this side. "Yeah, I would let him around little girls. He's crazy. He needs help. He might put his hands on yo. No cap." Oh my God. People in these the slang. "Help, what's wrong with him? I'd have a dude with you. He doesn't hit me. Been with him a while. Gotta go. He coming." So, let me see if I can get this off the screen. All of this because you're desperate for a man who is a thug, who exemplifies thug behavior, who exemplifies a bad father, who exemplifies violence, who exemplifies, what do you call it? Immaturity. All of that. And I think both of them deserve life in prison for causing the death of this child. And if he did indeed cause the death of his son, then I think they need to get him for that too. But like I say, I continue to keep encouraging people to just be more careful about who you date, make better choices. If children are involved, then you can't make it about yourself. Make it about your children and put your children as the number one priority. To this little angel, little Amara, young princess, R.I.P. And I thank you guys so much for listening to the story. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Thank you. This story made a little bit of headway, and it was really crazy. And I get the fact that people are conflicted because you're thinking this is a grandmother. If she made a mistake, like people make mistakes, but this is a mistake that can't be made when it causes the death of a child. After that, you just got to wash your hands and say, you know what? I love you, but I have to love you from a distance. You caused the death of my child. But not only did they not do that, this daughter, like a lot of people, probably just had a huge, huge heart and was like, my mom deserves a second chance. I know my mom is not that bad of a parent. She gave them her second child, and grandma caused the death of yet another child. Let's talk about this story from NBCnews.com. Thank you for the article, but let me give you a disclaimer before we get too deep into this story. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. Now, I want you guys to hear the detail of this story, and I want y'all to tell me if this was your mom, This is the grandmother of your child. What would y'all guys do in this situation? Because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to just be real. Like, my grandparent, whether mother or father, wouldn't get a second chance to do this. But, like, really, like, what would be going on in your heart? Tell me what you guys would do. A Florida woman is demanding prison time for her own mother after her 2 young children died less than a year apart while allegedly in their grandmother's care. One in a hot car death, and the other in an accidental drowning. The grandmother that you guys just saw on the screen, and those are just beautiful babies, man, and it just breaks my heart when you see these children, you look into their eyes, and they have all of this promise. They have all the promise in the world. That potential will never be realized because of a bad, neglectful, decrepit, senile grandmother. Like, she has to be senile. And I don't mean no disrespect, because I know that's something you can't control. But damn, I surely wouldn't give you a second chance. But hear this out. The grandmother, who was 65 years old, her name is Tracy Nix, N-I-X, and was arrested and charged in November with aggravated manslaughter and leaving a child unsupervised in a motor vehicle, court records show. The charges are in connection with the death, November the 1st of 2022, in the death of 7-month-old Uriel Schock, S-C-H-O-C-K. Authorities said that Tracy Nix, the grandmother, left Uriel in her vehicle outside her Wauchula home for several hours after returning home from lunch. Nix said that she forgot the child was in the car, according to court documents. How did you forget a little girl? Uriel's father, Drew Schock, said in a tearful interview this week with local station WFTS. Nix told authorities that her daughter, Kayla, asked her to watch Uriel while she was at her hair appointment, the document states, which is pretty normal business. That's pretty normal. We'll just let grandma watch the child. Like, my mom and my dad have watched my daughter plenty of times. You just wouldn't think that something like this would happen. Nick says she went to a friend's house and that morning, and then she left to pick up Uriel. She then drove to a restaurant for lunch with her friends, according to documents. They left the restaurant at 1:40 p.m. Security footage showed Nix put her granddaughter in the rear car seat and drive away, authorities said in documents. Nix says she drove about 10 minutes to her home. 10 minutes. Not 10 hours. Not 2 hours. Not even a half an hour. 10 minutes. 10-minute drive. Parked the car and went inside to talk to her dog and practice the piano. She told Hardy County Sheriff's Office that it was not like I was rushing in the house to do anything. I just forgot, according to documents. Court filings said that Nix was waiting for her older grandson to arrive so they could go out to dinner. After 4:30 p.m., she took 2 cups of tea out of her vehicle for her and her grandson and then drove the vehicle to her backyard. Authorities said Nick's husband was in the backyard and the two talked for about 10 minutes, the documents state. When the grandson arrived, Nick said all of a sudden it came across her head that Uriel was still in the car. So she got in the car, still didn't notice the child in the car, and then realized at a later point that the child was still in the car. Nick's husband immediately pulled the baby out and began CPR while someone called 911. Uriel was pronounced dead at the scene. Sheriff's office said the temperatures that day in Wauchula reached about 90 degrees, which is scorching hot inside of a car. An autopsy showed no signs of injuries. Her death was ruled as a homicide. Drew Schock, the dad, told WFTS that he remembers being in the parking lot outside of the hospital trying to grasp what just happened. and that it actually just happened twice in our lifetime. In December of 2021, the couple's 16-month-old son, Ezra, died, also while in grandma's care. Court records state that Nix was babysitting the little boy when she fell asleep. The child wandered outside and drowned in a pond near her home. She was not charged in that incident. And I'm telling you guys, the reason why she was probably charged here 2 times, there's no excuse for that. Kayla told the news station that she was 6 months pregnant with Uriel at the time her son died. The couple also had an older child. She said that she initially did not trust her mother to watch her children after Ezra's death, but believed in second chances. And that's what I want to ask you guys. If it were you, what would you do? If that was your mom, would you give your mom a second chance? To be honest with you guys, I'd be conflicted, but my answer will probably be no. It's just flat out no. That don't mean you can't let her see your grandchild, but leave your grandchild with her as in babysitting. That would be out of the freaking question. I almost want to cuss. Almost wanted to cuss. But that would be out of the damn question. We were anxious, but I loved my mother, and I'm a daughter that wanted her mom, she said through tears. When I was told that Ezra's death was an accident, some sliver child part of me thought, okay, good, I get to keep this mom, this grandmother. Kayla said that she knew her mother was taking Uriel to lunch with her friends. Hours later, a sheriff's deputy came to Kayla's house and delivered the heartbreaking news. 2 children who are no longer here, Drew said. Somebody had to answer for that. She needs to go to prison, Kayla told the news station. As her daughter, it kills me to say that. As their mother, I demand it. That's where I agree with her right there. Because that's just flat out the right thing. That's the right response. Authorities said that Nick's negligence resulted in the death of both children. Her attorney did not immediately respond to requests for comment. A pre-trial hearing is set for May the 2nd, which is here in just a few weeks, depending on when you're watching this video. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let me let you guys, I'm going to just play just like 1 or 2 news videos. Here we go. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys are watching this right now, you could always help us out. The simplest thing to do to share these stories is to click that thumbs up, close the live chat, click that thumbs up, chat with us and let us know what you think about this story, okay? So here we go.
And a grandmother is facing charges after her 2 young grandchildren die while in her care. Now, her daughter wants more done. In December of 2021, Tracy Nix was watching her 16-month-old grandson when investigators say that she fell asleep. Well, the child left the home and drowned in a pond nearby. The state of Florida determined there was not enough evidence to charge her in that case, but in November of last year, she was arrested when she told Hardy County deputies she, quote, just forgot her 7-month-old granddaughter inside the car for hours.
Ultimately, I wanted to still have a family unit.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, I think that that's the bottom line is that we looked around and said, what are we going to do? Are we choosing what we can never retrieve, or can we salvage what we have? As we were told, it was this accident.
A 65-year-old former principal is charged with aggravated manslaughter. She is facing 30 years behind bars.
These parents have lived through a double tragedy.
It was the very worst moment, I think, until the next worst moment.
First, their 18-month-old son Ezra drowned in a pond at his grandmother's house. Then, to compound their loss, less than a year later, their 8-month-old daughter lost her life after being left in a hot car for hours. And they're blaming both deaths on this woman, the grandmother. Parents Kayla and Drew felt good about leaving their son with Kayla's mom. After all, she was a well-respected retired school principal.
The children absolutely loved it there.
But 2 days before Christmas 2021, Grandmom Tracy Nix fell asleep on her couch. Somehow, 18-month-old Ezra got out of her house. He was found face down in the pond on their property.
911, where is your emergency?
That's a little baby. The grandmother's out giving him CP. Is he breathing? No.
Here's Ann Mercogliano.
The grieving parents did forgive the grandmom, believing the drowning of their son was a tragic accident.
You trusted her. She's your mother.
Absolutely.
In their grief, a time of joy. 3 months after Ezra drowned, Kayla gave birth to their daughter Yuri. They even let grandmom babysit again.
And here's where the story takes a heartbreaking turn when the unthinkable happens.
Tracy Nix went to lunch with her girlfriends. She took baby Yuri with her. When she returned home, she went inside to practice the piano, forgetting that she had left Yuri in the car seat. Several hours passed. Then she realized her horrifying mistake. She ran to her car, but it was too late. She found the baby dead in the scorching vehicle.
And I'm having deja vu right when I'm pulling up, because I'm seeing the exact same scene that I seen when I pulled up with Ezra. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I never in a million years would have thought again.
They told me that my baby was dead.
Did you just go into complete shock? I mean, the pain must have been unbearable.
Absolutely. I absolutely remember
I called Kayla
fully
after that,
putting my phone down and screaming.
Now grandmother Tracy Nix has been arrested, charged with aggravated manslaughter in the death of baby Yuri. Kayla has not spoken to her mom since the day her second baby died.
To know that ultimately the person that brought me into the world is the person that destroyed his world, my son. That's just unbearable.
Attorneys for Tracy Nix say she is devastated by the loss of her grandchildren.
You always hear people getting struck by lightning twice, people that win the lottery even twice. I mean, here you have the lottery of tragedy, and it's hit twice. I mean, it's one of the most unfortunate things I've ever heard of, and our heart absolutely, goes out to that family.
On social media, the tragedy is sparking lots of questions. Why on earth would parents leave another child in her care?
Of course we're aware of the comments being said. Of course I have read really difficult things. And we're human. We feel that.
The grieving parents say they want justice, even if it means sending grandmom to jail.
What do you think should happen to your mom?
I do think that she should be criminally charged. I think that she should be criminally punished.
Boy, that has got to be hard. Let me see if I can skim through this next one. It's kind of long, so I'm going to probably just skim through it a little bit.
Wauchula, Florida, a small town along Main Street in Hardy County. Population, less than 5,000. Kayla Nix and Drew Schock grew up here and reconnected 5 years ago after what began as a high school friendship. They soon decided to have kids and raise their children where they had roots.
Now, this was the plan. We were going to have 3 kids. And that was our goal.
My mom was a principal.
Kayla's mom, Tracy Nix, now at the center of their family's story.
Here we are.
A story they're here to share.
It's really difficult to know that my mom is the one, that broke his heart here. My mom.
According to the complaint affidavit, on November 1st, 2022, Kayla was going to get her hair done and asked her mom to babysit. Tracy met friends for lunch, drove home, and forgot her granddaughter in the back seat of her 2019 Lexus, with the windows rolled up. She went inside, talked to her dog, and practiced the piano. When one of her grandsons arrived, all of a sudden it came across her head that Uriel was in the back seat all afternoon. Her husband immediately began CPR. Temperatures in Wauchula that day reached 90 degrees. Uriel died. She was 7 months old.
To think of the last moments of her life as a mother, is gut-wrenching.
A little girl. How do you forget a little girl?
After identifying his daughter at the hospital, Drew remembers,
We're out in the parking lot just trying to grasp out what just happened, and that it actually just happened twice in our lifetime.
twice in less than a year. 16-month-old Ezra, Uriel's brother, also died while under his grandmother Tracy's care.
911, where is your emergency?
That's a little baby. The grandmother's out giving him CP. Is he breathing? No.
Okay, it was a pond,
Yeah.
and they're not sure how long the child was in the pond?
No.
Drew got the first call 3 days before Christmas 2021.
He goes, something happened to Ezra. And that's when I just called Kayla. And she goes, what? And I said, I don't know. I'm heading there now.
I could see the helicopter landing, and I didn't look when there was a stop sign. I was in a full head-on collision, and I was going 85 miles an hour in that case, 6 months pregnant. But I got out and started running to my parents' house, and at this point I don't have shoes. I'm just running. That was my desperation to get to my son.
Kayla says her doctor told her she needed to make a choice.
They withheld information from me. Any information that would work me up or make me emotionally distressful would be harmful to my unborn child. And I knew in that moment that as much as I loved him, that she was a real life and she was coming, and it would be wrong of me to lose it over him and hurt her and take her.
Kayla and Drew had never seen the incident report, detailing how Ezra drowned in a nearby pond the afternoon his grandmother fell asleep. In the report, the detective wrote, a complaint affidavit for child neglect will be forwarded to the state attorney's office for further review.
I didn't know that they had ever attempted to file charges.
Kayla says she will never forget what a deputy told her.
I was told that unless I believed that my mom held my son's head under the water and intentionally killed him, that there is nothing else that they can do about my son's death.
In a statement, the state attorney's office said, in cases involving the accidental drowning of a toddler, Florida appellate courts have stated that a one-time lapse of judgment would not establish culpable negligence of the caretaker.
His story has gotten lost in hers.
After the death of
Ezra,
your son, did you trust your mom?
No.
No, we didn't trust her at all. Like I said, that's why we never let Asher go over there.
Asher, their now 4-year-old firstborn.
We were anxious, but I loved my mother, and I am a daughter that wanted her mom. I thought that if I could believe in second chances, and so when I was told that Ezra's death was an accident, some sliver child part of me thought, okay, good, I get to keep this mom, this grandmother, this person.
3 months after Ezra's death, Kayla gave birth to their baby girl.
There wasn't a moment to get a grip of the death of my son before there was the life of my daughter. And how beautiful is that? Her name is Uriel, and it means, it's a Hebrew name, and it means God is my light. It's so cute.
Kayla and Drew were protective.
The very
Wanted y'all to catch that they gave their babies very specific names, and that those names mean something. I know y'all have heard me talk about how parents name their children sometimes and wonder why I speak up and have an opinion about that, because I believe that, words are powerful. Names are even more powerful when you give a baby, your legacy, a definitive destination, a designation like a name. It's such a beautiful thing. It's an honor. It's a privilege. And I think that we should honor that by all names should mean something special rather than us just making up some crap. So I just thought I'd throw that out there as a moment to just say, I think it's a beautiful thing when we do take the time to give a name that does mean something. Let's listen at the rest of this. Only a little bit more left.
minor amount of time that she saw my daughter was almost always supervised.
On her daughter's last day, Kayla says she knew her mom's plans.
Yuri was at a restaurant with other people that I knew and trusted.
Within hours, someone from the sheriff's office showed up at her home
and said that your baby is dead. And I said, I'm sorry, what? I know Ezra's dead. Why are you here? Why are you, like, what is this? No, Kayla, your baby is dead.
2 children now who are no longer here. You know what I mean? Somebody has to answer for that.
But Tracy's attorney, William Fletcher, says it depends.
But because somebody dies doesn't necessarily mean that somebody has to pay. And this obviously was an accident, and the question was, is it culpable negligence?
Fletcher told us Tracy Nix will not be making any public statements.
Tracy loves her daughter and her son-in-law and all of her children and her grandchildren.
What is she feeling?
Totally devastated, totally devastated.
Why did you choose to take on this case?
It was so incredible. I can't conceive of the pain. I got a couple grand.
Money. It's what attorneys get paid to do.
And kids. And you feel the same way about your grandkids. So it's not, you know, the parents are hurting, but so are the grandparents are hurting too. So there's no winners here, certainly no winners. Everybody, I mean, it's just total devastation. They're very fine people and decided I'd take it. I know you've heard sometimes people have been struck by lightning 2 different times, and that's the way I look at this case.
We sat down and spoke with Kayla and Drew, the parents, and they say that they want justice in this case. What do you think justice looks like here?
Looking at the facts, looking at what really happened, as far as Uriel, the baby girl, which is what the charge what the jury should be focused on, and deciding is this culpable negligence.
Fletcher says if found guilty, Tracy could be sentenced to between 12 and 30 years in prison.
So then if I'm objective, she needs to go to prison. As her daughter, it kills me to say it. As their mother, I demand it.
That's where I want to pause that right there. Let me rewind it. I want to hear that part again. I love that she said that.
So then if I'm objective, she needs to go to prison. As her daughter, it kills me to say it. As their mother, I demand it.
That's spoken like a mother right there. And I admire that, and I know that they were struggling emotionally with whether she should get a second chance. I get that. And that's why sometimes these mantras that we have, like everybody deserves a second chance and all of that stuff, we have to really, really use better discernment when it comes to what we're putting up at risk when it comes to giving somebody a second chance. And if you're talking about a human life, your child, your baby, I don't think people should get a second opportunity, a second crack at the apple, or whatever the case is when it comes to the safety of your children. You fail me once with a child, it'll be your last time. You better not ever fail me for a lot of different reasons. But nonetheless, I do understand, and that's more than anything like the message that I want to put out there, that I think we need to continue to stand up for justice. Because she said, in her own words, that mother said, as a mother, I demand justice. And that's where it should lay right there. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section, because I know some people will be conflicted. When you write your answers in the comment section, just take your time, be thorough. But I really, really want to hear what you guys have to say. And let's share with this conversation and tell me what you guys truly think about this, okay? Thank you. And RIP to those beautiful, beautiful babies. Let me not forget that. RIP to those beautiful souls.